In the Lost World Jurassic Park, Peter Ludlow has his last scene when the full-grown Tyrannosaur breaks his leg and leaves him as a sort of hunting lesson for the smaller infant. Originally, this was an idea that came from Michael Crichton's second novel, but it was slightly changed when Dodson was cut from the story. Now, Peter Ludlow's death scene plays out pretty good, but did you know that originally, Steven Spielberg had a very different idea for it? In behind-the-scenes footage for the Lost World Jurassic Park, there exists stills of the actor actually being attacked by a full-size little T.rex puppet, and Stan Winston's shop even did some really cool test footage of this creature attacking actors. Now, in the movie, we never really got to see how the little dinosaur killed this guy, but if we go back to the book, well, I think that what they were planning here could have been really cool. What's going on, guys? Hope you're all doing well. Now, as far as the little T-Rex practical effects go, it looks like originally the plan was for Steven Spielberg to actually shoot additional material of the baby T-Rex literally jumping onto Ludlow's body and not just, looking at the full-grown T-Rex like we see in the final version of the film. In Michael Crichton's book, Lewis Dodson is dropped by the adult T-Rex into the nest on Isla Sorna. Only more than just one baby T-Rex is present in the mound. And the description of what they do to him is brutal, with one of the animals taking a bite out of his face and pulling back for Dodson to see the animal literally eating him alive. Of course, this would more than likely have been toned like way down in the movie version of The Lost World because, they've got the PG-13 rating instead of R, but I do think the idea of them doing something similar to this in the book had to have been in the cards with all of the test footage that we've seen for The Lost World. Most likely what happened was Spielberg wanted to shoot some additional material of Ludlow actually getting pinned by the baby T-Rex in a way that kind of symbolically showed the smaller dinosaur getting revenge for Ludlow breaking its leg, which happens in another deleted scene, unfortunately not included in the final cut. Just to make sure you guys have the correct context, the scene in question that this special effects scene at the end was supposed to tie into would have been a lengthy conversation between Roland Timbo and Peter Ludlow on the ethics of why both people hunting dinosaurs on the island were either justified or not. Roland is a character that basically undergoes a similar development to John Hammond from the first Jurassic Park. He's only there, honestly, for his own personal ambitious reasons. He even mentions how he doesn't want to do something like shoot the buck Tyrannosaur with a laser from a satellite because there would be no real accomplishment in doing that, even though it would get the job done super easy. He has to go out of his way to take down the world's greatest predator in a way that makes things more even for him and the T-Rex. Ludlow just wants to capture dinosaurs for his own greedy reasons. He's kind of like Donald Gennaro in that respect. And after an animal scurries around in the woods, Ludlow slips and trips over something before falling onto the baby T-Rex's leg, breaking it in the process, which makes Roland Timbo extremely mad because he didn't actually want to hurt the infant Tyrannosaur and just wanted to go after the full-grown male. Ludlow brushes it off though as if it's nothing and goes on to make his big speech to the investors, which is where Nick Van Owen and Sarah Harding actually start to cut the fuel lines on the engine hunters' vehicles in another deleted scene left out of the movie. By the way, the whole scene where Ludlow trips over the baby T-Rex is actually something that showed the audience he had an alcohol problem, which if you pay close attention to the final cut of The Lost World, you can see him carry a flask and act like it's super important to drink at really dangerous times. So these little deleted scenes actually do go a long way with explaining things to the audience. Roland isn't really the bad guy he's been made out to be, and he didn't break the baby T-Rex's leg, and Ludlow is actually kind of worse because while he didn't mean to do it, he didn't really even care when he did. Now, how far the dinosaur attack was going to go is anyone's guess, but if you pay attention to the movie, they do linger on the full-grown T-Rex a long time, especially if the original plan was for Spielberg to cut to this attack where Ludlow gets killed. I've always imagined the little Rex would have gone for his throat, or maybe it would have only been, like a locked shot where we see it jump on his body and then growl down towards his face before cutting away to a scream, but we'll honestly never know. So why why was this idea abandoned for the movie? The special effects look great, it's from the Crichton novel, at least inspirationally, and it feels like something very, very Jurassic Park. Well, honestly, I'm not sure, because the only other times I've heard of Steven Spielberg getting rid of animatronic or practical effects shots that he had a problem with for this movie, like the times I've heard those happening were all very different. There's a lot of deleted footage for the Lost World Jurassic Park, and some of it he never even shot. Look, he cut out a section of the film where the full-size Stegosaurus animatronic was supposed to attack Sarah in the woods because I guess he just thought it didn't look convincing enough compared to CGI. He also cut some stuff of the raptors killing the hunters in the long grass because maybe it went a little too far. You can see a lot of blood on their teeth. I mean, it looked brutal, it looked gnarly. And there was also this scene where the full-grown Tyrannosaurus was supposed to break into the house after eating the dog. But look, that scene was more than likely cut, not because it didn't look convincing or it was too violent. I mean, nobody gets hurt after it breaks through the house. It just sniffs the family and then leaves. But look, it was probably cut because they just wanted the movie to flow better. One of the things you're going to learn very quickly when you become a massive Jurassic Park fan is that a lot of deleted scenes take place for what they claim to be pacing issues. They've never wanted to include a lot of scenes that I think fans think are awesome. Samuel L. Jackson's death scene is something that would have been really cool. There's also additional material of Udesky fighting a Velociraptor, or yeah, I could go on and on. They just tend to cut things out of films that they think doesn't flow with the narrative very well. That has been a historic Jurassic Park tradition, unfortunately. And with the filmmakers already axing the scene that explains that it was Peter Ludlow that broke that baby T-Rex's leg and not Roland Timbo, which is who I've heard a lot of people suggest is responsible for the broken leg in the movie because they don't know about the deleted content. Maybe they thought this whole revenge scene would go over people's heads after they cut that scene out, who, you know, they just couldn't connect all the dots within the film as it is. It could very well have been too violent though. I mean, who knows? It could have been a whole scene where they'd have the makeup effects really mess up Peter Ludlow's face. Or maybe it really just didn't flow with the other action taking place where Sarah Harding tranquilizes the animal. But whatever the reason happened to be, I really am sad to see it go. This test footage looks incredible, and it probably would have prevented that super weird storyline where we learned Ludlow survived and he came back like Gary Oldman from Hannibal in a wheelchair with an amber-tipped electric lever. And yes, all of that really did happen, by the way. Anyways, guys, I really want to hear what you guys have to say about this particular deleted creature effect for the Lost World. It really moves the way the Dilophosaur does in the first Jurassic Park movie, and I think it would have made for a cool scene, even if it was only 10 seconds long. I do like the idea of the baby T-Rex getting revenge on Peter Ludlow after it broke its leg. I've always loved the Lost World Jurassic Park, and I understand it's not everybody's favorite, but just look at all of the cool stuff they made for this movie. Even that isn't in the final cut, the cut material is super fun to go over. So whatever your own thoughts, theories, and opinions happen to be, I'd love to hear all about them in the comments down below. Now, before I go, I want to thank everyone that's helped me build my channel over the years. I'd also like to thank every one of you guys who've watched my stuff. You've all been extremely cool to me. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate a like and hope that you'll consider subscribing. God bless you all. Christ is King. See you guys in the next video, and as always, take it easy.